What's up, everybody? Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm going to be playing Wukong. Now, I did play just a handful of matches with him, and all of them were just crazy phenomenal. This is probably the best highlighted play, but unfortunately, the file got corrupt, and I was unable to actually get the whole recording. I only got the last few minutes. Luckily, this play was actually in that video, so I did manage to get a 4-man kill, if you see right here, and I was going against a Kalari, a Quang, a Richter, and a Yin, and if you see here, Kalari about to ult me, and boom, I actually get a 4-man kill, which is absolutely insane, since both of my teammates died crazy early, and, you know, that's just showing you the power that you can get into when becoming an ADC, which they actually, you know, give up right here. But let's get into the real video. As always, let's go over Wukong's deck first. Now, this is very close to my ranged ADC, so you'll notice a lot of similarities. I've got quick exit, damage reduction, fast travel, duelist, relentless pursuit, and auto health potion. Now for my cards, I've got Living Guardian, Sacred Alchemy, Nitro Boost, Sand Speeder, Pressure Hunter, Heavy Hitter, Poised Aggressor, Knight of the Asher, Demolitionist, and Nuke Blood Mutant. Now, I have been able to play 4 or 5 games as Wukong in the off lane, and I've got to say, I really enjoy him. Since version 42 came out, I have not really found a hero that I'm just syncing up well. A lot of my favorite heroes don't feel real good. I've actually been doing very well with Belica, and the only time I ever really played Belica was as a support, you know, in previous versions of Paragon, and now I'm finding her as just an absolute terror in mid lane. So I'm kind of really having to take a step back and play a lot of the heroes I didn't play as much to see which ones I sync up with better, just because the changes have been so big. Now, I am missing a ton of the gems, and so I don't have near the sustain in the early game as I would like. I wish I had healing towers, but I currently don't. The best thing I do have is the auto mana or auto health potion, and it doesn't kick in until 50%, and I'm not exactly sure if you only get 1 charges or if you actually get 2 charges. I have not. Now, early game with Wukong, it feels much easier than it used to. Wukong has always taken just tons and tons of damage, and now that we're not seeing revenants, I'm not too worried about getting that massive burst all of a sudden. But I have noticed that it just feels a lot easier, and I don't feel near as pressured. Of course, the Muriel could actually push me a little bit harder than she is, and, you know, that's really just lucky for me that she is, and I'm really getting a lot of farm. Of course, this is a pretty good wave coming into our tower, but at this lower level, I'm not really concerned about taking a whole lot of damage on this tower, because the ADC and the support are hitting just very, very little. Now, I am able to knock Murdoch into the tower and get him a little bit of damage. We take him down to about half health, which, you know, I was hoping to get a little more on him. I pushed him just a little bit too early, but that's fine. You know, we kind of got over our little jumping playtime. I've now kind of let Murdoch know, hey, I'm serious, so we're going to get down to it and really start trying to put some pressure here in this off lane. Now that I am kind of getting fed and I'm getting up in levels, I really want to head back to tower so I can feel a little safer actually, you know, pushing and actually putting myself in harm's way without being too concerned about taking damage. So I'm really just kind of waiting for the right opportunity now to head back to base. Of course, I do almost have 2,000 points, and that means I can get my next 2 cards. Or, I believe I changed this deck, so I've really only got 2 of the 1,000 point cards, and then my next card is the Sand Speeder or the Nitro Boost. I did kind of play around with my Wukong deck every game, and the deck that I showed everybody in the beginning was really the best deck that I found. And even though I have made just a small amount of changes, I was still using the exact same end game, which I haven't been building a very strong end game for most of my heroes, just because we don't end up getting to mid game most of the time. But with Wukong's ability to farm so well, I have found myself getting to that end game where I can put those late cards on, and that's really the reason I've made this deck so expensive at the end game. Now I do head back to base, and I am able to pick up that next card, which Living Guardian is a great card for offlane. I actually use it on most of my heroes that are playing in Chaos, just because it's just a really strong card. You can survive quite a bit once you start doing damage. And if you saw, I did wait until my lane was pushing. The lanes weren't met up quite yet, and that was a perfect time for me to head back to base. So I know even if they do actually push into my tower, I'm going to be able to get back before any sort of significant damage is done. And now that I have hit rank 5 and I do have my Living Guardian in, I'm able to really put some pressure on this mid lane and get farm, you know, kind of the same as the opposing ADC. Now, our Chimera does head over, and he's kind of waiting for me to engage, which I was kind of waiting for him to engage, so it really took a lot longer for this engagement to actually happen, and Murdoch and Muriel end up pushing down a little bit further, and I go ahead and try to get a couple of stacks of this Living Guardian up, and then I go ahead and head in, try to get some damage on Murdoch. Fortunately, Chimera took my Q and ended up heading in, and we're able to get this kill onto Murdoch, which he almost had me. If I did not have Living Guardian on, I would have for sure gone down right there. But luckily, I did have enough stacks of armor, and Chimera went ahead and stayed on that Muriel, so that was a great engagement. We end up getting a, 2 down. I'm able to head back. Of course, I would have liked to have been able to do some damage to that tower, but that is completely fine. I'm able to head back, pick up my Nitro Boost, and Nitro Boost is a great card for Wukong, especially in that early mid-game, because it's attack speed, which is always great, synced up with his ultimate, as well as you get that boost of speed, which, Wukong really doesn't need a whole lot more evade, but it is nice to have. Now, I forget to use it all the time because it's on such a short cooldown, it just slips my mind, hey, you've got this thing constantly. But I'll get there, and whenever I find myself using it to rotate more than actually escape, just because when I'm escaping, I'm not concentrating on using actives, because we've never really had that in Paragon yet. But this is a great card, and I highly recommend it for both ranged and melee ADCs, as well as, it's pretty good on melee heroes as well. Now, here at 8 minutes in the match, I am fed to the point where Murdoch and Muriel are going to have a really hard time taking down my tower unless I either just let them have it or I rotate out of position and, just give it to them. Wukong does a really good job of being able to defend towers, especially since he can displace heroes. So you can either push them out of the tower or push them deeper into the tower, where they have to make a conscious choice. Hey, am I going to stay in here and possibly tank some damage, or am I going to try to run out? And if they try to run, I can hit them the whole time. Now, Countess has struggled in mid lane a little bit, and I head to mid lane, but hey, the situation was kind of dispersing, so I'm going to head back to my lane. You know, mid lane is more important to me, but I don't want to just freely give my off-lane tower as well. Now, I do end up pushing them back a little bit, and here at 9 minutes, I kind of want them to take my tower. I don't want to waste a whole lot more time with, you know, not allowing them to rotate. Of course, I am getting fed, but I would be able to, you know, push lanes a lot easier if they were able to rotate. So I don't want to defend my lane a whole lot longer. Now here, just a few minutes in, or a few minutes later, I'm able to actually push into the tower. I get a little bit of damage on Muriel, and I'm really able to use my Staff of Legend, or Legends, whatever it's called, to knock her out and get a little more poke damage on her. Of course, I don't have a power card yet, and I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot. So, you know, that was really just kind of throw her off balance and test to see how much damage I'm going to do. I did not expect to down her, and I'm not going to chase her into her tower to try to get that kill. I do that later. But, yeah, my lane's in an unsafe area. Mid lane's struggling a little bit, so I'm going to head over there, get that pushing, allow Countess to move. Now, Murdoch did rotate over, and fortunately, I was able to, you know, kind of get him out of lane, and we have a lot of team collapse here. We are able to get that Murdoch, and I end up going in on this Muriel. I really thought I was going to have a little more help with her. Unfortunately, my team took off after that kill, and I did not realize that. So I stayed way too long under tower, took entirely too much damage, and ended up going down for a support kill, which is just a terrible idea. But hey, lesson learned, and I'm not going to make the same mistake again. But we did have an ADC on their team go down, which is definitely worth it. Now, I was able to pick up a power card, so now I have Nitro Boost and a power card. So I'm attacking a lot faster, doing a lot more damage, and this is really going to allow me to start putting tons and tons of pressure on. Now, I'm just going to keep constant pressure on the off lane. Of course, I'm not going to stay in the off lane the whole time. You do have to rotate. When your lane is pushed unsafely, that's the perfect time to, you know, go clear your jungle camp, go maybe help secure raptors. Really anything. You don't want to just farm experience like you used to. You know, in the beginning game, it's great to farm experience, but in the mid game, you really want to start going for CXP or gold. You know, now it's gold, of course. So you always want to have an objective, of course, getting that off-lane jungle, getting this jungle camp that's, you know, close to the off lane. This will allow the minion wave to push back on you to where you can farm it safer again. And with this, you know, now amazingly fast minion speed, it takes no time at all for minion waves to push in on you. So you definitely want to keep control of your river buff or of your off-lane jungle camps, but, you know, keep an eye on that lane, because you might have to rotate over before you can clear that camp out. Now, Chimera and Countess both head over, and we're able to make short work of Murdoch. And Muriel, you know, she booked it. I'm pretty low on health. I'm not healthy enough to chase kills or anything like that. And it's about time for me to head back to tower so I can actually upgrade some cards. Now, I really want to work on getting my Sacred Alchemy. If you have not played with Sacred Alchemy yet, every ADC needs this card. It is so good. And that's actually why I'm playing Order, is 100% for that card. And what it does is it gives you a 20% shield for all your basic damage. So as long as you're hitting something, you're constantly getting shields, and you can have more than one shield at once. You know, every basic hit gives you that 20% shield, so it is just an insane amount of damage. Now, Iggy was over here with this Grux, and with him using his ult, I was able to go in there and secure that kill. We made very short work of him, and I'm able to tank a couple of hits from this tower and down this tower. Now, one thing to note is, if you saw, I put the tower's kind of gym, I don't know what you'd call that, I put that in between me and Murdoch. You can't shoot through that. There are a few abilities that could, like long armor, the alt wall. If he would have hit me with that, it would have hit me, but for the most part, I'm not too worried about it. Now, I end up heading in on this Murdoch, and I would have got this kill, but Muriel showed up, and it just hurt me right in the feels. But hey, you know, he deserved a kill because I've been bullying him pretty bad this game, so it's no big deal. I'm able to put on Sacred Alchemy, and now at this point, if I do face off against him, he's not going to be able to kill me, even with a Muriel there, just because I'm superior in level, and I'm probably superior in card points at this point, so I'm just really going to be able to bully him. Now, after I spawn in, I go ahead and head back into my off lane to just create some more pressure. Now, there is something going down in mid lane, but as you all know, I am an ADC. Wukong doesn't offer just a crazy amount in a team fight other than that massive amount of damage, and just like every other ADC, he doesn't want to be the first one to, you know, engage in a fight or anything like that. Now, I do pick up purple buff, and I see Countess heading over to me, so I think we've got a pretty easy kill on this Grux. I'm going to just go ahead and start to engage, and hopefully she'll show up. Unfortunately, Muriel was able to ult in, and we get this Grux kill, but I was really hoping to get that Muriel kill, and I did not realize the mid lane tower is still up. So I'm going to go ahead and push in on that and hopefully get it down. Now, I have another death here, and I don't know why I should not have even been in that tower, but if you see that, Iggy is just an amazing counter to Wukong. Those turrets just absolutely destroyed me in midair. I had no idea they could do that, and that was really a bad call on my part. I should not have gone in there. I did not think Iggy was going to be able to destroy that minion wave as fast as he did. I was really hoping that my damage with, you know, a little bit of help from our team, we would have downed that tower, but that was a really poor choice on my part, and, you know, hey, I'm 3-3-3, so I'm doing okay, but I should have not had that death. That was a very careless death on my part, but we do need to get some more pressure in that mid lane. Now, after I spawn back in, we've got a pretty substantial wave coming in on our safe lane, so I'm going to go ahead and head over there. Now, our Countess is in the off lane, so I'm just going to go ahead and push this safe lane, and we haven't had just the best experience in mid lane at this point. Iggy is very hard to deal with as a Countess, and she's been kind of struggling dealing with him, which that's kind of along those lines of, I think he's a little overtuned at this point, especially being able to throw 4 turrets down and then just running away and letting his turrets do everything. But, you know, that's a small balancing patch. That's nothing to worry about. But Countess is definitely a bad or a tough pick to go against the Iggy, especially in that mid lane position, because it is such a small and short position. She doesn't have a whole lot of, you know, time to do anything, and if she was in the off lane, she's typically not going to go against an Iggy. Now that Aurora came to, she was going to Horror Frost, you know, my minion wave, and I just wasn't going to have that, so I knocked her out, and I'm able to completely clean out this lane without really having to deal with her. I get another decent little poke damage in on her. This lane's set and pushed, and our Countess has gone down, so I'm going to just head back and go find some more farm, go find another lane to push. Sure enough, Grux shows up, and I had some great team rotation. We were able to take him down, and unfortunately, Murdoch didn't have any team rotation. other than him, and we were able to get a fairly easy double kill, or our team got a fairly easy double kill. Now, I was going to head back to base, but FaZe is here with me, and she's hooked to me, so I'm going to go ahead and push this tower. I'm not exactly sure why Aurora did not show up for that small little engagement. If she'd have showed up, it would have gone much, much different, and you know, that's just great for us, but I have noticed a lot of players that are playing Aurora are playing very passively, and Aurora's an engager. Aurora is the hero that goes out there and starts the fight, and she's typically the one that starts it and ends it because her ultimate is so strong, and it turns a 5v3 advantage into a their whole team is dead advantage. So, for y'all Aurora heroes out there, know you have one of the strongest engagement tools in the, entirety of Paragon, and you should definitely use that to your team's advantage. Now, I went ahead and headed back to base. I picked up my heavy hitter, which is, just increasing my damage even more. I have not been using my nitro boost, and so Sand Spear would probably be a better option for me, just because it's a passive. Although you don't get near as much out of the effects from it, I wouldn't have to worry about constantly hitting it. I've never really enjoyed using active cards, and even now that you only have 3 cards, I still don't really enjoy using actives. Now, this Muriel does a great job of keeping my minions out of the tower, but at the same time, she's not letting the tower do damage to the minions, so the minions are stacking up, and of course, it just kind of delayed me from taking this tower down, but if she would have had some sort of rotation, it might have gone a lot differently. Now, she did end up ulting out, and when Iggy was heading in to help her, and with this massive minion wave and my Sacred Alchemy, I make very short work of Iggy. I'm going to go ahead and head back to base and try to push another lane. Now, I am able to run back down my off lane because we kind of had a little split push going. So I'm going to get this lane to apply some pressure, and then I'm going to head to the mid lane and actually, my main objective was to get the mid lane tower down. I did not care about getting the off lane tower near as much, or the off lane inhib, because I know we would have had some team rotation to guard that inhib. But we didn't get that mid lane tower, so it might have been a better choice for me to stay. That's kind of one of those things that, hey, nothing was a bad choice. We didn't have a death there. We actually got a couple of kills. No one made a bad choice there. It's just, I think me staying on that hidden hib might have been a better choice. But I am able to head back to base and put on a more in-game build, so I'm going to do just massive amounts of damage at this point. And I really only have 2 more cards that I can equip to actually increase, my in-game at this point. Now, here at 27 minutes in, we are able to take down Prime. We've got all of our lanes pushed pretty significantly, and me and Chimera make pretty short work of Prime. Of course, Chimera can solo Prime, but it typically takes Chimera, a decent amount of time, just because he's not the highest damage hero, and, you can solo him if you build pure power. I've actually done it a few times, but he's not ever going to be as strong as an ADC, so if you do have time to head over and help, it's definitely worth it. Now, Aurora ended up kind of going in on me a little bit, but Chimera ended up ambushing her and getting her down pretty easy. And this is really in-game. It takes a little bit longer for us to actually end the game, but, we've got Prime, we're pushing lanes pretty well, and a fully fed Wukong is just really hard to deal with. Now, I do hit Muriel to try to get those minions in that tower, but of course, she ends up, running around, kind of kiting the minions, and I got hit by this laser. I thought I was dead. Oh, man. That was my heart stopped at that moment. That was a great shot by him. I don't know if he still had vision on me or if that was a complete blind shot, but man, that was great on his part. Unfortunately for him, and fortunately for me, I lived through that. I think Prime Buff probably saved me there because, man, I had no health left. But I end up heading into our safe lane. I'm able to clear this just massive wave of minions, and I end up pushing this all the way for the win. So for all my subscribers that I have not got a chance to play with, you probably know I don't play off lane near as much as any of the other positions. I just haven't really ever been super comfortable in the off lane. It's not the 2v1 lane that's so much, I'm more of an aggressive player, and early game, you need to play a lot more passively. But Wukong, just because he's so, overtuned right now, that might be a lot of the reason why I'm just having a great time playing Wukong. Or it might be, hey, with this new version 42, I just really enjoy this melee carry right now. But I'm having an absolute blast with Wukong, and if you haven't played him, I would highly recommend trying a deck along the lines of the one that I've picked. It's a really good deck, and it feels really solid. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and I did change this video to where I'm using the game audio. Let me know if you like that, or would you rather have the music? I prefer the music, but I just kind of want y'all's opinion. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this Wukong offlane guide. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, show me some love. Leave me a comment, think about subscribing, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.